I am the God who sees everything and knows everything. There is no hidden corner outside of my gaze, nor thought that can escape my discernment. I know every person who approaches you. I know what their intentions are and how far they can take you. My heart burns with love for you and for those around you, and it is because of that love that I extend my voice at this moment to speak with clarity and firmness about the friendships that seek to turn you away from the path I have prepared. I have placed within you a seed of eternal life. That seed carries my purpose, my plans, and the greatness of what I want you to achieve. But there are those who draw near to choke that seed, like thorns that grow around a good tree to steal its strength. They do not always appear as enemies. Often they come with smiles, with soft words, with promises of companionship and acceptance. They disguise themselves as support, but inside there are intentions that do not come from me. That is why I speak now, to protect you from bonds that do not build, from alliances that do not produce the fruit of life. My ways are straight, and in them true friendship is a gift. I created fellowship so that it would be a reason for growth, a space where hearts encourage one another and uphold each other in the midst of adversity. However, the adversary seeks to contaminate what I created as good. He plants people around you in order to pull you away from my will. He does not do it abruptly, but subtly, little by little, until what is harmful seems normal and what is crooked seems straight. But I am here to open your eyes so you may distinguish the difference between those who push you toward life and those who want to drag you into confusion and pain. Do not fear when I show you what does not please me. Do not close your heart if I reveal to you that some of those who walk with you do not do so with sincerity. My purpose is not to leave you in loneliness, but to purify your environment, to cleanse the circle of influence around you, and to place you next to those who reflect my love and my truth. Though at first it may hurt to part from the company of those you have called friends, in time you will recognize that it was my hand that delivered you from the snare. Bad friendships are like murky waters. At first glance they seem refreshing, but drinking from them contaminates your entire interior. Their words do not build, but feed rebellion, pride, and frivolity. They encourage you to stop listening to my voice, to make room for distractions that wear down your spirit, to choose temporary pleasures that leave emptiness afterward. I do not want you to live from emptiness to emptiness, but to experience the fullness that only comes from me. Remember that I have promised to be your faithful companion. When it seems that the company of others disappears, I will be there, filling the spaces with my peace. My friendship has no deceitful conditions. It does not expect anything in return that would destroy you. It does not seek to take advantage of your weakness. I am constant, stable, unshakable. And I want to teach you to recognize this constancy also in the people around you. I will give you discernment to distinguish those who come with an upright heart, with words of encouragement that come from my spirit, and not with hidden intentions. Listen carefully. You do not need to belong to a group that does not reflect my truth to feel accepted. True acceptance is found in me, in my embrace, in my presence. I am the one who gives value, the one who sustains identity. Those who try to define you apart from me only offer masks that sooner or later fall. Do not depend on friendships that pressure you to change who you are in essence, for I was the one who formed you. I was the one who designed you with a glorious purpose. Walking with bad friendships is like walking barefoot on ground full of thorns. Each step seems bearable at first, but the wounds accumulate until the blood begins to flow. That is what the enemy does. He turns the wound into habit until you believe it is normal to live hurt. I do not want you to live wounded. I came to heal and restore. My intention is that you surround yourself with those who heal your steps, who lift you up with their company, who reflect my character in every gesture. When you feel the temptation to stay where it is not right, remember that I am your strength. When you want to remain silent in the face of what you know is harmful, I will place courage within you to say no. And when the moment comes to move away from what does not build you up, I myself will open new paths, new relationships, friendships that align with my will. You will not have to beg for companionship, because I will send those who will be balm for your heart and a push for your dreams. Stay attentive, because I will speak to you with clear signs. I will show you who celebrates your obedience and who feels uncomfortable when you choose to follow my voice. I will reveal to you who rejoices in your growth and who tries to stop it out of envy or fear. Do not ignore these signs. I am the one who instructs you. I am the one who teaches you the right path. If I tell you to move away from someone, I do not do it out of cruelty but for protection. If I tell you to remain next to another, it is because there you will find genuine growth. I have heard every cry for help because of bad friendships. Nothing you express before me is left in the void. Every tear, every silent word, reaches my throne and moves my compassion. I am responding now, opening a way for your life to be freed from bonds that do not come from me. I am declaring freedom over your relationships, purity in your close circles, and renewal in the connections surrounding your walk. You will not be prey to manipulation nor a victim of those who try to seduce you with their influence. My spirit will rise within you like a shield. My presence will surround you like a wall of fire. My angels will be attentive to cut the ties that seek to bind you to crooked paths. And I myself will see to replacing what you lose with something much greater, for I leave no voids in the lives of those who trust in me. I am the one who places by your side brothers and sisters in the faith who reflect my love, counselors who speak with wisdom, companions who pray with you and not against you. I am preparing a new season for your life, a stage where every friendship will be a reflection of my grace. You will see how darkness retreats and how my light illuminates the relationships that will remain. Keep walking with confidence. I am the God who sets the captives free and breaks the chains that no one else can see. Many bonds appear to be innocent friendships, but behind them lie ties that hinder growth and freedom. My voice rises today with authority to declare that no dark alliance will have power over you. I do not allow what I have chosen for life to be dragged down paths of destruction. Before your birth, I knew the steps you would take and I designed your walk in detail. I placed gifts within you, I wrote an eternal purpose, and I established a glorious destiny. Yet the enemy, who always seeks to steal what I have given, tries to surround your steps with company that diverts your attention, with voices that interrupt my call, with faces that appear affectionate but sow confusion. Today I rise as your defender and I say, none of those traps will prevail. The influence of bad friendships is like a slow poison. It does not act immediately, but penetrates until it corrodes the deepest parts. What seemed like a gesture of trust ends up becoming pressure. What seemed like advice ends up dragging you into decisions without light. But I am the antidote to that poison. My Holy Spirit is the medicine that cleanses your interior and removes every trace of manipulation. I do not allow the chains to keep tightening your heart. Listen to what I declare over you. Every hidden bond that rose against your life is broken right now by the power of my word. Every influence that sought to steal your peace loses authority before my presence. No more emotional ties, no more bonds disguised as friendship but leading to ruin. I am opening your eyes so you can see clearly what once seemed normal. I will give you spiritual vision so you can identify without error who brings you closer to me and who seeks to drive you away. My voice is a hammer that breaks down walls. Just as I tore down walls of oppression in past generations, so also I destroy the walls that false friends have built around your mind. Those walls of fear, guilt, and dependency will no longer have power. My light enters and drives out all shadow. I myself extend my hand to snatch you from environments that only bring darkness, and I move you into spaces where you will breathe freedom and hope. You were not created to live bound to human voices that only repeat lies. You were created to hear my voice, which brings abundant life. I am the one who sets the course of your destiny, not the pressures of those who call themselves friends but are not. No mockery, no social pressure, no manipulation will be stronger than my spirit within you. I have placed in you a supernatural strength to resist, and today that strength is activated with a new power. See how I cut invisible cords that kept your steps trapped. Those who sought to impose their desires on you will no longer be able to hold control. Those who pretended to shape your character with violence or lies will have no more space. I am intervening in every conversation, in every encounter, in every moment in which they thought they could exert influence over you. My presence is a consuming fire that sweeps away everything that is not holy. I know the tears you shed in silence for feeling trapped in harmful circles. I heard every word hidden in your heart when you felt you could not get out of there. You were never alone. My spirit was with you even in the midst of that environment, preserving your life from greater harm. And now, on this day, I declare a new stage. You are entering a time of freedom, of renewal, and of deep cleansing. When my voice commands, nothing can resist. Just as I opened the sea so my people could walk on dry ground, so I open before you a new path of pure friendships. A path where loyalty replaces betrayal, where truth takes the place of lies, where peace takes the place of disorder. I am the specialist in transforming the impossible into possible, and today I transform your circle of relationships. I will make those who sought to trap you lose interest in you. I will make those who intended to impose their lifestyle on you walk away without explanation. And while they depart, I will draw to you people who reflect my character, who edify you, who lift you up when you are weary. You will be surprised at how my hand works in silence and with power, because from one day to the next you will see changes you never imagined. I am declaring over you a definitive breakthrough. No spirit of emotional slavery will remain. I put courage within you to take firm steps without looking back. I put joy in your heart so you will not feel emptiness when you separate from what does not come from me. I myself will be the fullness that fills every space. There will be no nostalgia for what is left behind, because the new I give you will be much more glorious. My plans for you cannot be interrupted by bad friendships. I am your jealous guardian, and I will not allow what I planted in you to be uprooted. My love watches over every step, my grace covers every decision. I will lift you up with authority so that others may also be set free from the same bonds I am breaking in you today. You will be a living testimony that my power is real, that my voice does not lie, that my intervention transforms. I have decided to fight for you. I will not allow the enemy to use harmful ties to destroy what is mine. My victory is already declared, and you are part of that victory. You will walk free, you will walk secure, you will walk confident that nothing and no one can snatch you from my hands. I hold you with eternal strength, and that strength will never run out. Do not fear when you see some walk away. It is not loss, it is liberation. It is not rejection, it is protection. Every departure I allow is a door closed to destruction. Every person I remove from your side is a wall I raise to prevent evil from advancing. Trust my decisions, for they are perfect. Though you may not fully understand it now, later you will see that it was all for love. Today I establish over you a new time. The invisible chains no longer have power. The voice of false friends is silenced. My presence rises as a banner of victory in your life. I myself march before you, and where I pass, there is no room for darkness. My word is fulfilled, my promise remains, my covenant is eternal. Rest in me. Allow me to continue cleansing what must go and planting what must remain. I am the God who restores relationships, who returns trust, who builds strong and true friendships. There will be no emptiness, no loneliness, no pain left unanswered. For I am your fullness, I am your faithful companion, I am your assured victory. No human force, no hidden intention, no disguised word can overcome my protection. I have decided to surround you with walls that do not fall, with barriers that cannot be crossed, with an invisible fortress that guards every step you take. You are not exposed, you do not walk without shelter. I myself am your defense and your shield against the friendships that seek to pull you away from the life I have prepared for you. Bad friendships rise like open doors toward ruin. They promise companionship, but what they deliver is emptiness. They promise fun, but what they sow is pain. I know how they operate, for nothing is hidden from me. That is why I place before you a wall of discernment. A wall that does not allow you to yield to what is false. A wall that protects your identity. A wall that sustains your integrity even when the voices around you insist that you renounce what you know is right. The enemy has tried since ancient times to sow relationships that wear down, that corrupt, that divert. He did it in past generations, and he tries again with you. But my response is always stronger. If he plants bad friendships, I raise walls of fire. If he tries to open doors to deception, I close them with heavenly locks. If he wants to entangle you in harmful conversations, I interrupt his voice and cause his influence to lose power. I want you to know that you are not fragile or weak in my hands. I have placed courage within you. I have deposited strength that comes from my spirit. When you feel the pressures of your surroundings trying to make you give in, remember that I uphold you with a firm hand. Nothing they say can surpass what I have already declared over you. I do not speak fleeting words. I pronounce eternal decrees that do not change. The walls I raise around you are not made of stone, they are made of glory. My glory is what drives away those who bring no light. My presence is what unsettles those who seek to manipulate you. Even if they try to approach, they will collide with the fortress of my spirit. Even if they want to impose themselves, their influence will not be able to cross the walls I myself established. You are untouchable when you walk in my will. I do not only protect you from visible harm, I also guard you from hidden harm. There are conversations you will never hear because I stopped them. There are plans against you that never materialize because my hand dismantled them before they were born. There are people who thought of using your trust to lead you into dark paths, but I removed them from your life without you noticing. That is the greatness of my love. I intervene in silence, not always letting you know, but always with absolute faithfulness. Do not think you are losing when you see certain friendships drift away. I am the one who opens and closes doors. I am the one who decides who enters and who leaves your surroundings. There is no mistake in my movements. Every departure I allow is a wall I raise. Every friendship I stop is a higher wall I place to protect what I planted in you. Allow my spirit to be the guardian of your inner circle. Do not strive to hold on to what does not come from me. I know who is true and who is not. I know who desires your good and who disguises themselves to take advantage of your trust. You do not need to waste your strength trying to uncover them. I myself reveal them and remove them. The only thing I ask is that you rest in my faithfulness. Bad friendships may try to soil your heart, but my grace keeps it clean. They may want to sow in you attitudes contrary to my will, but my spirit uproots them before they take root. They may speak against you, but my voice resounds louder and silences every attack. I am your righteous judge, I am your faithful defender, I am your eternal Father who will never allow you to be left unprotected. Listen well to what I declare over you this day. You will be surrounded by my presence as an impenetrable wall. Whoever tries to wound you will not be able to touch you. Whoever tries to contaminate you will not succeed. Whoever tries to sow confusion in your mind will be confronted by my clarity. I am the light that illuminates your interior. I am the fire that consumes darkness. I am the shield that covers every corner of your being. You must not fear loneliness because loneliness will never be your destiny with me. I take care of bringing the right people by your side at the right time. It is not about quantity, it is about quality. It is not about how many walk with you, but that those who do are sent by me. I prefer that you walk with a few who elevate you to my purpose than with many who drag you into destruction. I am the one who raises walls, but I am also the one who opens windows. Through those windows you will see pure friendships arrive, blessed alliances, faces that shine with the light of my spirit. They will be like an oasis in the midst of the desert, like balm in the midst of battle, like a voice of encouragement when you need strength. That is my way of showing you that you will never be alone, even as I close doors and cut ties. The battle against bad friendships is not faced with your own weapons, it is faced with my power. I fight for you, I guard your heart, I decide the course of your steps. You do not need to strive to protect yourself from all, I already do it. Trust that my walls are higher than any human attempt. No one can tear down what I establish, no one can break what I have sealed. Keep walking with confidence. Do not stop to look at what is left behind. What I remove is not loss, it is salvation. What I take away from your side is not punishment, it is mercy. Every step you take behind my walls will bring you closer to my purpose, closer to the fullness I designed for you, closer to true freedom. Today I reaffirm my promise. No bad friendship will have dominion over your life. I raise walls of protection, I am your fortress, I am your refuge. Rest under my shadow and walk in my light, for there you will be safe, there you will be firm, there you will experience the best of my eternal love. My voice does not allow you to advance on contaminated ground, because I know that traps are hidden there that can wound your life. Where my eyes see danger, my hands act swiftly. Where my ears hear deceptive voices, my spirit rises to silence them. I do not allow the dust of harmful friendships to stain your walk, because I called you to walk in purity, in righteousness, and in truth. Bad friendships are like muddy roads. They seem passable, but with each step they sink deeper and deeper. First, they slow the pace, then they drain strength, and in the end they end up trapping the feet. This is how wrong influence acts. It does not drag all at once, but wears down little by little until the heart feels powerless to continue moving forward. But I will not allow you to be trapped. I am the one who cleans, who dries the ground, who opens new firm paths so that your steps do not falter. I am sweeping away with my mighty wind every trace of contamination in your surroundings. Where once there were conversations that dirtied your thoughts, now there will be words that edify and give life. Where once there were empty laughs that pulled you away from my purpose, now you will hear songs of hope that remind you who you are in me. Where once there were hands that pushed you into darkness, now you will see hands lifted up to help you move forward. My cleansing is not superficial, it goes to the deepest part. I not only remove bad friendships from your path, I also heal the marks they left in your heart. Because I know that sometimes their influence sowed wounds, sowed doubts, sowed habits that do not build you up. I enter the most intimate place and uproot every twisted root. I uproot every thought born from rejection, every insecurity that arose from mockery, every fear that was sown inside you. I leave no trace of impurity, I transform and make new. I have heard your cry when you felt surrounded by friendships that did not share your faith or your values. I have seen when you sought companionship and what you found were mockeries disguised as acceptance. I was there, observing every situation. And although it seemed you were alone, I was acting in silence so those experiences would not destroy your essence. Today I tell you that none of those marks will remain. I am blowing with my spirit to cleanse the old and prepare the new. When I cleanse, nothing remains the same. If I close a path, it is because I will open another higher one. If I remove a companion, it is because I have prepared another far more valuable. Do not fear the emptiness. Emptiness does not last with me. I always fill with abundance. Where bad friendships tried to sow ruin, I will sow true friendship. Where they tried to sow lies, I will sow truth. Where they tried to sow discouragement, I will sow encouragement. I go before you like a river that carries away every impurity. My presence is a mighty current that does not stop before any obstacle. Just as water cleans the dirt from stones, so my spirit cleans the traces of those who were not meant to be in your life. What seemed permanent is erased. What seemed like a scar is healed. What seemed impossible to change is transformed with a touch of my power. I know you have felt the burden of maintaining relationships that did not build you up, because you feared being alone if you let them go. But today I assure you that you are not alone. I am with you, and I prepare new connections that will not weigh on your shoulders but will be wings that lift you up. The friendships I send do not contaminate, on the contrary they cleanse. They do not exhaust, on the contrary they strengthen. They do not sink, on the contrary they push upward. The enemy will always try to contaminate your steps with wrong friendships, but I will always be ready to cleanse you. He scatters the dust of deception, I blow the wind of truth. He sets puddles of sin, I send fire that dries the ground. He sets chains of dependency, I cut them with the sword of light. Just as I am God of creation, I am also God of cleansing. And I will not rest until I see you walking on straight paths free from impurity. Do not allow the memory of bad friendships to dirty your present. What happened is behind you. I am a specialist in making all things new. Your heart is not marked by what they said or what they did. Your heart is sealed by my spirit, covered by my blood, embraced by my eternal love. That is what defines your identity, not the twisted words of those who never knew how to value you. I raise a banner of victory over your life. That banner is a sign that the ground has been cleansed and that now you can move forward without fear. Where once you stumbled, now you will walk safely. Where once you doubted, now you will have certainty. Where once there was contamination, now there will be freshness. My cleansing not only opens paths, it also renews your vision. I will give you new eyes to see what you could not see before. I will give you new ears to hear what you did not hear before. I will give you a sensitive heart to distinguish the true from the false. See how I remove from around you those who tried to muddy your path. You will see how, without you having to do anything, they begin to leave. You will see how they lose influence over you. You will see how my hand guides you to places where they cannot enter. That is my protection, that is my faithfulness, that is my love in action. You do not need to get dirty to feel companionship. You do not need to walk on contaminated ground to experience belonging. I am your safe place. I am your eternal home. And from me, I will give you friendships that will walk with you in light, in truth, and in purity. People who will have no hidden agenda, who will not fake love, who will not conceal betrayal. They will be friendships that reflect who I am, faithful, sincere, constant. Today I declare that your path is clean. No more dust, no more mud, no more traces of bad friendships. You will walk with firmness, you will breathe freedom, you will move forward with steady steps. I go before you and nothing will be able to dirty what I have already purified. Because my word remains, because my will is good, because my love never fails. Rest in me because the cleansing is done. Trust in me because the new is already prepared. Move forward with me because I am your guide, your strength, and your eternal companion. I have seen how the steps of many have strayed because they allowed strange voices to take place in their thoughts. It was not violent blows that dragged them, but soft words disguised as friendship, gestures that seemed close but hid traps. This is how bad company infiltrates. With false smiles, with empty promises, with apparent understanding that only seeks to destroy what is true. That is why I declare that my words are an invisible shield around those who receive them with an open heart. No mocking laughter, no wicked counsel, no twisted influence will be able to prevail over what I place within them. My eyes do not turn away from those who cry out for protection. I observe the secret conversations, the hidden invitations, the proposals that seem harmless but conceal poison. I interrupt those plans with my power. I will remove the chairs where mockers sit. I will shift the paths where traps are spread. I will shake the alliances that seek to confuse. The ground where they walk will be purified, because I have the authority to tear down the nets woven in darkness. I raise a wall that cannot be seen, but that is firm. It is not of stone nor of iron, but of my own faithfulness. That wall resists every attempt at manipulation, every peer pressure, every disguised invitation. When they try to approach to drag, they will run into an unbreakable boundary. That boundary they will not cross because I myself established it with my hand. Thus, my beloved will remain firm even though around them currents may try to sweep them away. Many have thought it impossible to escape those harmful friendships because they seem to have invisible chains, but I cut those bonds. No one can keep them imprisoned if I decide to release them. There is no group, no circle, no deceitful friendship that can be greater than my word. My voice breaks chains, my light exposes the darkness, my truth reveals what is hidden. Thus, each one who seeks to come out will be free. I give discernment, clarity of spirit, sensitivity to recognize what does not come from me. What once seemed attractive will begin to show its ugliness. What once seemed funny will now be seen as disguised poison. What once seemed like sincere friendship will be revealed as a destructive net. I open inner eyes so that nothing remains hidden. I will not allow them to walk blindly among wolves dressed as sheep. It is not only about removing bad influences, but about filling the void with true companionship. I will bring people who edify, friendships that inspire, relationships that heal. I will not leave an empty space for evil to return, but I will plant genuine, pure, firm connections. Thus, the fertile ground of hearts will be sown with faithful companionship that leads them to grow and not to fall. My hands cleanse the places where mocking voices once sat. My steps tread the paths where deceit was woven, and there I plant new seeds. No one will be able to say they were left abandoned, for I provide different alliances, friendships that uphold in days of weakness, brothers who lift up when everything feels heavy. That is my design, to uproot what is false and plant what is true. When bad friendships try to claim what no longer belongs to them, they will encounter immediate rejection. There will be no need to shout nor to fight in the flesh, for my spirit will place an invisible barrier in the emotions. There will be no delight in deceptive conversation, no joy in impure jokes, no satisfaction in rebellious plans. On the contrary, they will feel discomfort, they will feel rejection, they will feel the desire to withdraw. That is my work, to protect them from the harm they once accepted without realizing it. I have decreed that no corrupt influence may remain close to them for long. Even if it disguises itself as sincere friendship, it will be unmasked. Even if it pretends to accompany, it will be exposed as a burden. Even if it speaks with sweetness, its bitterness will be revealed. I cause hidden intentions to come to light. What seemed good will be exposed as evil. What seemed supportive will be shown as betrayal. And in that revelation there will be freedom. The time of being under false yokes has ended. I declare that every step they take will be established in righteousness. I declare that every conversation will be protected by my truth. I declare that every door attempted by those who are not for me will be closed immediately. No one will be able to drag them into paths of destruction, because I have already marked a different path for them. That path is clean, firm, full of life. I will cause even the memories of those bad influences to lose their strength. What once seemed like an indispensable connection will be like dust carried away by the wind. They will have no nostalgia for what I leave behind, because I will fill every empty space with new joy. I will replace false laughter with true joy, twisted conversations with words that edify, dark plans with shining purposes. Thus, there will be no hollow nor emptiness that the enemy can take advantage of. When they try to return with insistence, my presence will be a shield that keeps the distance. There will be no need for harsh words because the weight of my light will be enough to drive them away. Just as darkness cannot remain where a lamp shines, so harmful friendships will not be able to stand where I dwell. That is my promise, not to allow them to return with power over them. I ensure peace in the places where once there was chaos because of those friendships. I ensure rest in the minds that were troubled by false counsel. I ensure clear direction in the hearts that once doubted because of deceptive voices. Now the path opens, now the vision clears, now the burden is lifted. My word establishes order where once there was confusion. Receive confidence in the midst of the battle, for you are not alone in this process. My strength pours out like a constant river. It is not a momentary impulse, it is a current that does not stop. That current washes what is contaminated, cleanses what was stained, restores what was wounded. My hand does not grow weary, my power does not run out, my faithfulness does not break. Today I declare that freedom from bad company is total and definitive. There will be no return to what was already broken, no going back to what was already loosed, no slavery where there is already freedom. Every word I have spoken carries eternal weight. What I affirm remains, what I decree is fulfilled, what I establish no one can invalidate. Thus it shall be sealed. The past of bad friendships will not define the future. Deception will not be the last word, nor will betrayal mark the destiny. What I establish is life, truth, peace, and genuine companionship. Listen carefully. I want to speak to you about a danger that is often ignored, but that has the power to strip purity from the heart and darken the path that was destined to shine with clarity. I speak of those companies that seem harmless, but deep inside carry seeds of destruction. They do not always present themselves with violence or visible bad intentions. They often appear with smiles, with sweet words, and with promises of companionship, but behind them hides a poison that slowly seeps into the soul. When someone walks in the midst of friendships that do not edify, little by little their essence begins to change. Bad company is like a polluted river. Though at first the water may look clear, in its depths it carries mud, waste, and substances that corrupt everything they touch. So it is with those relationships that lead your steps away from truth, away from purity, away from the hope that had been planted within you. The damage they cause is not always immediate. At the beginning it seems that nothing bad is happening. A light conversation, an out-of-place joke, an invitation to participate in something unedifying, an attitude that seems small. But those little seeds accumulate in the mind and heart until they produce a bitter fruit that destroys peace. Bad friendships steal innocence with mockery that ridicules what is good, extinguish the passion for what is holy with constant distractions, and weaken faith with words that sow doubt and mistrust. The danger is great because they infiltrate into the everyday. They do not enter life with violence, but with gentle steps. They become that voice that advises with cunning, but with the wrong direction. They are like shadows that accompany, but little by little lead away from the light. And when one realizes it, they are already walking on twisted paths, with a confused mind and a divided heart. The heart that allows itself to be influenced by harmful friendships loses sensitivity to the eternal. It begins to find enjoyment in what once brought discomfort. It begins to justify attitudes that once seemed dangerous. It begins to tolerate what it once rejected. Thus, the conscience hardens like stone, and what was light begins to mix with darkness. The danger of bad company does not stay only in the soul. It also affects practical life, destiny, and purpose. Those who allow themselves to be carried away by wrong friendships end up making rushed decisions, compromising their values, neglecting what matters most. A bad friendship can drag toward vices, destructive behaviors, and environments of perdition. What once seemed like an innocent game becomes a chain that binds freedom. I have seen many lose precious opportunities because they allowed themselves to be guided by deceitful voices. I have seen wasted talents because someone listened to the advice of a friend who had no wisdom. I have seen dreams shatter because someone chose to walk with those who never wanted the best for their life. Bad friendships are like disguised thieves. They enter silently, steal what shines, and leave behind emptiness and ruin. But I want you to understand something. It is not only about avoiding what is bad, but also about guarding what is good. Whoever surrounds themselves with people who contaminate will sooner or later begin to reflect that same contamination. The mind feeds on what it hears, the heart fills with what it shares, and the feet walk where others lead. Thus, a life designed to advance in strength can become trapped in circles of mediocrity and in dead-end roads. Bad friendships damage identity. They make you believe that in order to be accepted, you must give in, adapt, stop being yourself. They push you to wear a mask, to hide convictions, to silence the truth. In that process, the soul loses authenticity and becomes a shadow of what it once was. And the further one advances in that direction, the harder it seems to return to the place of origin. They also destroy vision. When someone is surrounded by those who think only about the temporary, the superficial, and the vain, the gaze toward the eternal becomes clouded. The heart fills with empty desires and priorities fall into disorder. The eternal seems boring, the pure seems ridiculous, the holy seems exaggerated. And so, without realizing it, the person walks toward an abyss, laughing with those who accompany them, but losing the most valuable along the way. The destructive power of bad friendships does not only touch the personal, but also the family. I have seen homes fracture because someone allowed harmful friendships to influence their decisions. I have seen marriages falter because strange voices sowed lies in the mind. I have seen children lose direction because they surrounded themselves with those who only wanted to drag them into darkness. When a bad friendship enters, it does not only affect the one who receives it, but everything that surrounds their life. It is necessary to understand that every relationship influences. No one remains neutral. Every word you hear, every company you accept, every counsel you follow, plants something inside of you. And when what is planted is not good, sooner or later it will sprout with pain. That is why I insist that you be careful, because life is fragile and the soul was not created to carry unnecessary weights. I want you to see clearly, bad friendships damage thoughts, contaminate emotions, weaken the will, and darken the spirit. They are like a slow poison that, at first, does not seem lethal, but ends up stealing the strength to live with purpose. And the one who allows themselves to be dragged ends up enslaved by chains they never imagined carrying. But it is not too late. Even if dark paths have been walked, even if deceitful voices have sounded loudly, there is still an opportunity to break those ties. No one is condemned to live under the influence of bad friendships. With determination, with courage, and with my strength, what destroys can be cast aside, and what gives life can be embraced. I want you to know that my intention is not to deprive you of companionship, but to deliver you from that which seeks to destroy your destiny. Temporary solitude is better than companionship that ruins. Momentary silence is safer than words that deceive. And though it may seem difficult to walk away, remember that every step away from what is harmful is a step toward freedom. Stay alert. Guard your mind, care for your heart, protect your destiny. Do not accept just any friendship simply to fill a void. Allow your life to be surrounded by those who edify, who inspire, who draw you closer to what is true. In this way, you will not only avoid pain, but you will walk on a path of growth, peace, and fullness. When you walk with those who do not respect my truth, their habits begin to slip into your life, and almost without realizing it, you take them as if they were your own. Bad company robs you of discernment. They celebrate what destroys and despise what gives life. By staying close to them, your heart begins to consider normal what you once knew was harmful. This is one of the greatest dangers. The loss of sensitivity when evil stops looking evil and good starts to seem useless. I did not shape your life for you to be dragged by that current, but for you to be a light that shines in the midst of darkness. Observe how their advice is twisted paths. They tell you that lying doesn't matter, that deceit is necessary, that betrayal is part of life, and that if you don't do the same you'll be weak. Their words are chains seeking to bind your mind, making you believe their way of living is the right one. But those chains do not come from me. What they call freedom is, in reality, slavery. Every time you follow advice contrary to what I planted within you, a part of you drifts away from the fullness I prepared. The danger of bad friendships lies in their constant persistence. You don't need them to attack you directly. It is enough for them to remain near, repeating their ways, until their attitudes become normalized in your life. I tell you that you cannot walk in two directions at the same time. If you choose to remain in their circles of darkness, sooner or later you will begin to adopt their ways, and what you reject today, tomorrow you will embrace as if it were yours. They do not seek your growth even though they make you believe otherwise. Bad friendships rejoice when you fall, they delight when you stumble, and instead of lifting you up, they use your fall as entertainment. Notice how they react when you achieve something good. Some pretend to support you, but inside them burns envy. They want to see you on the same level of defeat in which they live. That is why my voice comes to warn you, so that you will not be deceived into thinking they are on your side. The impact of such company also touches your inner being. Bad friendships make your heart restless, your peace stolen. Where once there was clarity, now there is confusion. Where once there was confidence, now you feel doubt. Their presence is like storms that disturb your calm. They feed insecurity because they do not want you to discover the strength I gave you. If they succeed in pulling you away from my truth, they will keep you bound forever to their games and manipulations. They also affect your most important decisions. When you listen to wrong advice, you build on sand and not on rock. They push you to waste what you have on worthless things, to invest your time in what does not edify, to tie your future to relationships that will only wear you down. A bad friendship today may be the cause of tomorrow's failure. They take you away from the goals I planted in you, diverting you from the paths that lead to your eternal purpose. I want you to understand that not all words that sound pleasant come from a pure heart. Many come close pretending support, but their intentions are hidden. They seek to drag you into the darkness where they themselves are. Bad friendships can destroy your identity. If you stay too close to them, you will begin to forget who you are, and you will lose the direction I marked out for you. The damage is not always seen at first. It may seem that everything remains the same, that there are no consequences. But like the drop that strikes a stone each day, little by little they wear down your convictions, weaken your faith, and pull you away from my ways. The enemy uses such company to sow doubt, to introduce habits that enslave you, and to suffocate the seed of life I planted inside you. I speak to you because I know what hides behind those smiles. They may seem sincere, but behind their friendship are invisible chains that seek to stop you. I want you to live in freedom, to experience relationships that strengthen you, not destroy you. My desire is that you be surrounded by people who draw you closer to the truth, who inspire you to grow, who celebrate your progress, and who cry with you in your battles, not those who mock your wounds. Bad friendships are like hidden thorns in a field. You can play there for a while without being hurt, but sooner or later one of those thorns pierces and the pain is inevitable. That is how they act. They may seem harmless for a time, but when you least expect it, they wound the deepest part of you. I do not want you to live wounded by wrong choices. That is why I insist on showing you that not everyone around you is placed there for your good. When you allow such friendships to dominate your circle, they not only affect your present, but also attempt to contaminate your future. They push you into rushed decisions, harmful relationships, and commitments that end up as chains. Bad company makes you waste valuable time you could use to build what will lead you to a full life. Remember that every day you give to what does not edify is one day less on the path toward what truly matters. I want to protect you from that contamination. My purpose is not to deprive you of joy, but to deliver you from unnecessary pain. I know what those friendships will cause if you remain in them. Frustration, exhaustion, tears you did not need to shed. I can see the paths opening before you, and I want you to choose those that lead to life, not ruin. That is why I speak to you firmly, because I know that if you pay attention, you will be spared much suffering. Listen carefully. Bad friendships are instruments that try to extinguish the light in you. But within you I have placed a flame that no one can extinguish if you remain firm. That flame is the strength that will allow you to say no, even when others insist on dragging you. That flame is the courage that gives you the freedom to turn away from those who do not desire your good. That flame is my presence, which never leaves you, even when everyone else fails. I did not create you to walk in chains. I created you to walk in paths of life, surrounded by people who reflect goodness and truth. When you learn to discern and to turn away from what destroys, you begin to experience the fullness of my protection. If you choose to turn away from harmful friendships, you will discover peace where there was once storm, clarity where there was confusion, hope where there was emptiness. Choose wisely, for every companionship is a seed in your life. Good friendships will bear fruit of blessing, but bad friendships will sow pain. Do not forget that what you sow today you will reap tomorrow. Many of my children believe that bad company only affects the present, that its effects are limited to momentary confusion, fleeting pain, or temporary loss. But what they fail to understand is that the influence of wrong friendships can project itself beyond earthly life, all the way to eternal destiny. What today seems like just an innocent conversation, a laugh shared in the dark, a twisted piece of advice received with indifference, can become the chain that drags a soul away from my light and away from the eternity I lovingly prepared. I have not designed heaven to be mixed with darkness. The place of glory I have reserved does not allow contamination, deceit, hatred, or rebellion. When someone chooses to surround themselves with those who constantly oppose my will, they run the risk of making those very inclinations their own. And when the heart grows accustomed to walking far from me, the steps ultimately lead it to a destiny separated from my presence. It is not that I close the doors, it is that the person, by embracing perverse counsel and destructive company, drifts away without realizing that the distance has become final. Bad friendships not only sow pain in the immediate, but they prepare the soul to reject the voice of my spirit. At first they appear as laughter, agreements, secret complicities. Then they become habits that bind, desires that enslave, blindness that prevents distinguishing between truth and lies. Thus, when I call with strength and tenderness, many no longer hear, because the noise of wicked friendships has silenced the sensitivity of their spirit. The danger is not only that they lose opportunities on earth, but that they neglect eternal salvation, allowing themselves to be dragged into condemnation for refusing to break free from those who never led them toward my light. I have warned in my word that bad company corrupts good morals. But it is not only about outward customs, it is about the very essence of the soul. A friendship that leads into sin opens spiritual doors that bind. Every piece of advice received that contradicts what I teach becomes a poisonous seed. Over time, that poison not only damages conduct but poisons faith. And without faith, no one can remain firm on the path that leads to eternal life. There are those who believe they will later be able to correct their course, that they can enjoy darkness for a time and then return to the light whenever they choose. But they do not understand that every day spent with destructive friendships weakens the ability to choose rightly. What today seems like a simple decision, tomorrow becomes a habit impossible to break without my intervention. And if one persists in rejecting my help, the will hardens to the point of no longer discerning the way out. That is why I speak firmly. Do not be deceived, the friendships you embrace today can determine your eternity. I want you to understand something profound. Heaven and hell do not begin after death, they begin in the heart here on earth. Whoever lives in my presence already begins to experience my kingdom. Peace that surpasses all understanding, unshakable hope, love that never fails. But whoever surrenders to wicked friendships already begins to taste darkness, emptiness, despair, and lack of meaning. And if they do not stop, that reality will only deepen beyond this life. Bad friendships are portals into that eternal darkness, because they train the soul to grow accustomed to living far from me. Let me show you the consequences clearly. Whoever persists in surrounding themselves with those who reject my voice will end up imitating their ways. And the path of the wicked does not lead to life but to eternal separation. No matter how strong they believe they are, no matter how wise they may appear, if they do not walk with me, their destiny is an abyss without return. And all who choose to join them will share the same inheritance. This is the most painful consequence. Not only losing what I prepared in this life but losing eternal communion with me. When I think of my children who cling to friendships that destroy them, my heart burns with zeal and compassion. I do not desire that any should perish. I do not wish for anyone to be lost. That is why I warn, that is why I insist, that is why I call again and again. Because I know that the result of remaining in such company is not light. It is eternal. It is not just about suffering deceit, wounds, or failures in this life. It is about being separated from my glory forever, about not entering the fullness I designed before the foundation of the world. I want you to walk on the narrow path that leads to life, not the wide one that leads to destruction. And one of the most determining factors for your walk is who you surround yourself with. If you remain with those who seek me, your faith will be strengthened, your love will be kindled, your hope will grow. But if you choose friendships that mock my word, that justify sin, that drag you toward evil, you will end up walking with them in the opposite direction from my throne. And if there is no repentance, the end will be eternal separation. Listen to what I say. Nothing this world offers is worth more than your eternity. No fleeting laughter, no momentary acceptance, no human applause compensates for the loss of eternal life with me. Bad friendships always promise immediate satisfaction, but in exchange they demand the highest price, your soul. And I do not want you to pay that price. I call you today to open your eyes, to break free from those chains, to not allow your eternal destiny to be decided by the influence of those who never sought your good. If you have remained too long with destructive friendships, it is still not too late. My grace is still extended, my hand is still open, my voice is still calling. Do not allow persistence and foolishness to lead you to cross the threshold where there will no longer be return. I do not want to see you in eternity separated from me, lamenting having followed the voices of those who led you away from my truth. Today is the day to turn away, to decide that your eternity is worth more than any earthly company. Remember, what is at stake is not just your present, it is your eternal destiny. Bad friendships drag you toward an abyss from which only I can rescue you. Do not risk the most valuable thing for the sake of keeping what never built you up. I call you to choose wisely, to surround yourself with those who draw you to life and not to death, to light and not to darkness, to heaven and not to hell. I love you with eternal love, and that is why I warn with clarity. I do not desire that any of my children be left outside of glory. But I know that bad friendships are one of the strongest bonds that tie many to condemnation. I have seen how wrong influences have tried to control your decisions and divert your heart from what is pure and true. You were not created to live under chains of harmful words, nor to conform to company that darkens your mind and your spirit. That is why I extend my power over you, so that you may receive supernatural strength and be able to break any bond that ties your life to friendships that do not edify. This strength does not come from your human effort, but from my constant presence, which dwells within you and guides every thought, every decision, every step you take. It is not easy to recognize that someone close to you may be harmful, and even less so to separate yourself. Emotions, habit, and shared memories seem to hinder the decision to break those ties. But I place within you a courage that does not depend on human will. That courage is a gift, a fire that ignites your heart and enables you to say no to those who seek to drag you into darkness. Every time you feel afraid to step away, it is my voice reminding you that you are not alone, that there is nothing to fear when you walk with me. As you receive my strength, discernment begins to flow in your spirit. What once seemed confusing now becomes clear. What once seemed like affection is now recognized as manipulation. What once seemed harmless now reveals its true face. This clarity is a shield that protects your soul and prevents bad friendships from having power over your life. Every word I speak strengthens your will. Every thought I illuminate cleanses your heart. Every impulse I guide reaffirms your decision to separate from what does not come from me. My power also transforms your fear into action. Many have remained in harmful relationships out of fear of loneliness or of the reaction of others. But the strength that comes from me removes that fear. I give you a steadfast spirit, able to face opposition with calm and determination. Every time you doubt, remember that my hand holds yours, that my spirit walks with you, and that every decision made in obedience to me produces freedom and protection. Now listen to this verse. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Philippians 4 verse 13. This is the principle that sustains your heart. You do not depend on your strength, you depend on mine. And in my strength, the impossible becomes possible. Breaking off relationships that have been harmful, facing pressures that once held you back, remaining firm when others seek to distract you. Everything is possible if you allow my power to flow in you. It is not only about separating physically, but about cutting off every negative influence that may persist in your mind and spirit. Every memory, every piece of advice, every habit you acquired through closeness with those who did not build you up can be purified with my help. I place within you an inner fire that burns away every dark influence and makes room for peace, clarity, and trust. Each day that you receive my strength, that fire grows, until no shadow can remain near your life. Receiving divine strength also means walking in constant prayer. Speaking with me and acknowledging your need for my help activates my power in your life. Every word you utter in prayer strengthens your spirit, every sincere cry generates protection, and every decision made in my presence is backed with supernatural authority. It is not a quick process, but it is a sure one. As you remain firm, my strength becomes more evident and harmful friendships lose influence over you. I have placed around you guardian angels, invisible forces that act for your protection. You cannot see them, but their intervention is real. They are instruments of my power that block every attempt of those who seek to keep you bound to destruction. Every time your heart falters, they uphold your spirit, ensuring that your decision to separate remains firm and without retreat. In addition, you receive wisdom to discern new relationships. My strength not only separates you from what harms, but also opens your eyes to recognize friendships that edify. Those who approach with sincerity, respect, and true love will be clearly identified. My spirit guides you so that the company you choose from now on may be a reflection of my presence, and that every new bond may strengthen your faith, your character, and your destiny. Remember that divine strength not only acts upon the external, but also upon your mind and your heart. When doubts, pressures, or nostalgia arise, my power will renew your memory and your perception. You will remember why you walked away, you will feel my peace confirming your decision, and your heart will not lean toward the temptation of returning to harmful influence. That strength is permanent as long as you remain in communion with me, and as long as you rely on my word and my presence. As you move forward, you will notice significant changes. Anxiety will decrease, peace will grow, clarity of judgment will be strengthened, and confidence in yourself and in me will increase. My power not only cuts the influence of what is harmful, but also fills every void left behind with light, purpose, and direction. What once was painful or confusing is transformed into learning and strength, and your life begins to reflect the care and protection that only I can provide. Remain firm in prayer, in obedience, and in clarity of purpose. Do not allow nostalgia or weak attachment to destructive relationships to make you turn back. Every decision made in my power is backed by heavenly authority. Every step you take to separate from harmful friendships is covered by my protection, and every influence that is removed is replaced by my grace and my light. Now receive this truth with all your mind and heart. When you accept my strength to separate from what harms, you not only protect your present life, but also your eternal destiny. Every relationship you remove under my guidance becomes a space available for company that edifies, for influence that purifies, and for presence that ensures peace and growth. You are not alone. My power and my spirit are sufficient to guarantee that you will never again fall under the oppression of bad friendships. Allow this fire that I have placed within you to burn even stronger. Every day, every moment, every thought can be sustained by my power. It is not your human effort that cuts the ties, but my authority working in you. Trust, walk firmly, and allow my strength to transform the way you relate, cutting off what does not serve and allowing only what builds, lifts, and gives life. Every harmful influence that has tried to surround you, every word that did not edify, every piece of advice that clouded your discernment, I know them perfectly. That is why today I speak to you to establish over you a permanent shield, a protection that does not depend on your strength, but on my authority and my divine direction. It is not enough to step away from what is harmful for a moment. It is necessary to remain firm, not only in the present but also in the days to come. Bad company has a persistent effect. If the decision to cut off the relationship is not strengthened by my presence, the past may return with nostalgia, pressure, or deceit, trying to drag you back into darkness. But I place upon you a mantle of authority that does not allow those influences to return without you recognizing and rejecting them. My power establishes invisible boundaries that protect your mind, your heart, and your decisions. Where once there was doubt, now there is clarity. Where once there was confusion, now there is discernment. Where once there was fear, now there is full confidence in my presence. Every thought, every conversation, and every bond that attempts to influence your life without my approval will be intercepted and subjected to my authority. No one can interfere with your destiny while you remain under my care. The protection I offer is not limited to preventing harmful friendships from returning. It also strengthens your ability to choose relationships that build and purify your life. Every new bond that arises will be filtered by my wisdom and your strengthened discernment. You will learn to clearly identify who reflects my principles and who seeks to turn you away from them. No manipulation or deceit will be able to obscure this perception while you walk in my presence. It is essential to understand that this protection requires your cooperation, remaining in constant prayer, meditating on my word, and keeping a heart willing to listen to my voice. Every act of obedience strengthens the shield that covers you. Every conscious decision to turn away from what harms activates the authority I have placed over your life. And every step toward healthy relationships expands the light that guides you and dispels any shadow that tries to return. I have seen how many fall into the trap of nostalgia. They remember the good moments with those who did them no good and feel tempted to return. But I want to remind you that what seemed positive was only an appearance. The heart of those friendships did not seek your well-being, but to keep you bound. The protection I offer includes discernment to recognize those traps, strength to resist them, and clarity to always prioritize what builds and purifies your life. To help you understand the depth of this protection, think of every relationship as a field of influence. Before, those harmful relationships filled the ground with seeds of confusion and pain. Today, under my authority, that ground is sealed. They cannot sow new seeds there without your conscious consent and without my spirit allowing it. And any attempt to infiltrate again will be immediately revealed, enabling you to make firm decisions based on the truth I have placed in your heart. Furthermore, I grant wisdom to communicate clear and firm boundaries. When bad friendships try to pressure you, your word will become an instrument of defense. It will not be aggressive or harmful, but direct and based on the authority I have placed upon you. You will be able to say no with firmness without feeling guilt or fear. Obedience to my direction becomes a shield that protects your emotions, your mind, and your spirit from future manipulations. Remember that my authority is absolute. No influence contrary to my will can prevail while you remain under my covering. Every relationship that once tried to destabilize you is now subjected to my control. And anyone who seeks to manipulate you or drag you into what destroys will encounter supernatural resistance within you, because my spirit dwells in your inner being and strengthens every right decision you make. I also want you to recognize that permanent prevention includes guarding your thoughts. Harmful friendships not only affect the external, but they attempt to shape your mind with memories, words, and attitudes. That is why I place watch over your mind. Every negative thought that returns will be intercepted. Every doubt will be replaced with clarity and confidence, and every attempt at mental manipulation will be neutralized by my authority. Thus, your inner being will remain firm even if opportunities to relapse arise. As this protection is established, it also strengthens your ability to build new relationships. You will be able to attract people who reflect my values, who act with integrity, who edify and do not destroy. These friendships will become support, guidance, and true companionship. Every healthy bond you allow to flourish will be a testimony of my direction in your life and a reflection of the strength I grant you to remain firm. In addition, I place watch over your emotional heart. Every past wound caused by harmful friendships will be healed, and every impulse of attachment to what destroys will be replaced with desire for what builds. Your heart becomes fertile ground for friendship that honors my principles and a place resistant to any attempt of future corruption. Divine strength protects not only what you do but also what you feel and what you think. Remain aware that this protection is permanent as long as you remain in communion with me. Every decision of prayer, every moment of reflection on my word, every act of obedience reinforces this shield. And every day that you allow my spirit to guide your relationships, you learn to recognize the influence of what is true and to reject what destroys. My authority is not limited to a moment, but is established as a firm foundation over every relationship in your life. Finally, understand that you are not alone in this process. My presence dwells in you, my spirit guides you, and my authority acts over every bond to protect your life. There is no influence that can penetrate without my permission, and as long as you trust in me, no harmful relationship will have power over your destiny. This protection is complete, permanent, and effective. Just remain attentive, obedient, and willing to follow the direction I give you, and you will see how every relationship that once threatened your peace is placed under my control, and every friendship you now build reflects my light, my love, and my truth. First, true friendship is recognized by its impact on your heart and your spirit. Those who build do not lead you into confusion, do not sow doubts, nor encourage behaviors contrary to the truth I have placed within you. On the contrary, their influence reinforces what is good, strengthens your faith, enriches your character, and drives you to be more aware of my presence. Every word they speak, every piece of advice they give, reflects a pure intention to lift you up, guide you, and sustain you on the path of life. Those who truly build also respect your boundaries and decisions. They do not pressure or manipulate, they do not seek to control or divert your will. Their company is a safe space where you can be honest, vulnerable, and authentic without fear of being judged or hurt. The presence of these people acts as a mirror that reflects my principles and constantly reminds you of the right direction. When you walk with them, you do not lose your essence. On the contrary, you draw closer to what I created in you before the foundation of the world. Furthermore, friendships that build inspire constant growth. They do not remain in mediocrity nor celebrate disobedience. Their conversations, actions, and attitudes challenge you to be better, to live with integrity, and to seek the truth at all times. They celebrate your victories, learn from your mistakes, and share your vision of a life that honors what is just and good. Walking alongside these people reminds you that you are never alone, that there are those who seek your good, and that your life can flourish when surrounded by love and respect. To recognize who truly builds, pay attention to their consistency. Actions speak louder than words. Those who live according to what they preach reflect authenticity, while those who pretend to be good only for their own benefit are easy to identify if you observe carefully. My spirit gives you discernment to distinguish truth from appearance. Trust in this guidance. It will allow you to separate the superficial from the genuine, and thus keep only relationships that truly strengthen you. Maintaining friendships that build requires constant dependence on me. It is not enough to identify who is right. You also need my direction to preserve those bonds. The temptation to neglect them, to take them for granted, or to allow external influences can weaken even the purest relationships. That is why my presence must be the force that sustains every interaction. Every conversation, every shared decision, and every moment of closeness will be guided by my spirit if you rely on me and seek my direction constantly. My word also acts as a filter for your relationships. When you meditate on it, you learn to identify destructive attitudes, harmful words, and behaviors that do not reflect what I have taught. By doing so, your heart is strengthened and your discernment becomes sharper. Even friendships that seem neutral or harmless can be evaluated in the light of truth. Those who align with my principles will remain in your life. Those who do not will be gently set aside without conflict, with the authority and protection I grant you. I want you to see each relationship as sacred ground. Every person who remains in your life must contribute to your spiritual, emotional, and personal growth. Those who build act as instruments of my light, helping your soul to flourish and your heart to remain steadfast. Every bond of this kind is a gift that must be cultivated with care, time, and attention, always with my guidance so that nothing is damaged or misunderstood. The right friendships are also sources of motivation and genuine joy. Their words do not seek to manipulate or confuse. Rather, they uplift, inspire, and encourage you to walk with integrity. They celebrate your achievements without envy and accompany you in difficult moments with patience and understanding. These relationships strengthen your spirit and constantly remind you that you are not alone, that there is true support, and that life can be shared with those who seek your good. My guidance is essential to maintain these relationships. I remind you that even the most sincere friendship needs protection. Jealousy, misunderstandings, external pressure, and temptation can weaken a bond that was once strong. But when you remain in communion with me, your heart receives wisdom to act with prudence, patience, and love in every relationship. Dependence on my guidance ensures that the bonds that build are not broken by external influences or impulsive human decisions. Moreover, I want you to practice gratitude and attentiveness toward those who build your life. Recognizing their presence, valuing their words, and thanking them for their support strengthens the bond and elevates the relationship to a deeper level. By doing this, you are cooperating with my purpose, because love that is given and received in truth produces spiritual growth and protection for both hearts. My guidance will teach you how to honor, strengthen, and preserve every true bond. It is also important to discern the timing and intensity of each relationship. Not all building friendships require the same closeness. Some are meant to walk with you for certain seasons and then serve as inspiration from a distance. My guidance will teach you when it is necessary to maintain proximity and when it is wise to allow space, always with respect and genuine love. This flexibility, guided by my spirit, ensures that each relationship flourishes according to my plan and not due to external pressures. Remember that true friendship is measured by its impact on your eternal life. Those who build not only help you in the present, but also prepare you for eternity. Their words, their example, and their companionship reinforce what is just good and true, creating fertile ground for my spirit to continue working in you. Maintaining these bonds means protecting your path and allowing the influence of those who reflect my light to remain constant. Finally, I want every decision about your friendships to be guided by constant dependence on me. It is not about your human judgment or passing emotions. It is about my presence acting in your heart. When you trust me to identify and maintain only relationships that build, your life is strengthened, your steps become firm, and your heart is filled with peace. Every friendship that remains under my guidance becomes a refuge of truth, love, and purpose. Walk with this discernment, with this strength, and with this permanent dependence. May every bond in your life be a reflection of my truth, an instrument of my light, and a constant reminder that the love that builds does not destroy, does not confuse, and does not lead astray from the path I have prepared. By doing so, every relationship you maintain becomes a beacon of blessing, protection, and spiritual growth. Today I want to speak to you with absolute clarity about something that deeply affects the life of every human being: friendships. Not all relationships that seem close reflect what is true and edifying. There are friendships that uplift and friendships that destroy. Some lead toward the fullness I have prepared for you and others toward paths of confusion, pain, and distance from my presence. Understanding this difference is essential because life is built and protected through the company you choose. Friendships that edify are distinguished by their intention and by the fruit they produce. Every word, every action, and every piece of advice they give has a clear purpose: to strengthen your character, bring you closer to the truth, guide you toward decisions that reflect integrity and love. These friendships do not seek your momentary benefit at the cost of your spirit. Rather, they seek your growth, your protection, and your long-term well-being. Their influence produces peace, clarity, and direction. Every interaction leaves traces of wisdom, motivation, and encouragement that sustain your soul. On the contrary, friendships that destroy seek self-satisfaction, momentary pleasure, or manipulation. They may seem close, but in reality they generate dependence, confusion, doubt, and habits that take you away from the path I have prepared for you. Their words hide traps. their advice disguises deceit, and their company, though sometimes pleasant, sows seeds of darkness and separation from my purpose. Every interaction leaves traces of uncertainty, insecurity, and spiritual imbalance, even if at first they appear as laughter, fun, or support. A key difference between one and the other is the way they affect your heart and your mind. Friendships that edify awaken love, respect, and the desire to grow. They nurture your spirit and reinforce trust in yourself and in my guidance. They encourage you to make wise decisions, to act with integrity, and to maintain a firm purpose. Every conversation generates clarity and light, and every moment shared strengthens your faith and your character. These are relationships that sustain your life, not destabilize it. Destructive friendships, on the other hand, generate confusion, anxiety, and emotional ties that weaken your will. Even decisions that seem simple are affected by pressure, deceit, or manipulation. The mind becomes clouded, the heart becomes restless, and the perception of what is right is distorted. What began as fun or companionship turns into an invisible obstacle that diverts your life from the truth and the peace that come from me. That is why it is so important to discern and move away from what harms before its roots grow deeper. Another point that differentiates true friendships from harmful ones is consistency. Friendships that edify are firm, constant, and trustworthy. Their actions match their words. They do not change according to convenience or interest, but reflect sincerity, respect, and responsibility. These friendships remain even in difficult times, and their support does not depend on the occasion, but on commitment to truth and to the well-being of the other. In contrast, destructive friendships are unstable, unpredictable, and superficial. Their words may sound sweet, but their actions contradict what they say. They are relationships that fade in times of need and that seek to gain something in exchange for your trust or loyalty. Their support is temporary and conditional, and their closeness disappears when circumstances require sacrifice or integrity. Their influence is dangerous because it mixes immediate pleasure with long-term negative consequences. Moreover, good friendships build up your spirit while bad ones weaken it. A relationship that edifies strengthens your discernment, encourages you to follow my ways, and increases your sensitivity to my guidance. Every encounter reinforces your heart, your mind, and your faith. On the contrary, harmful friendships foster habits that contradict my teachings, promote disobedience, and darken the clarity of your purpose. Whoever surrounds themselves with them gradually becomes accustomed to walking far from me, weakening their ability to recognize what is right and to act with wisdom. I want you to understand that the difference is also manifested in intention. Good friendships seek your good without expecting anything in return, while bad ones seek their own benefit or satisfaction. This distinction is vital because it affects every decision you make and every path you choose. A relationship that builds prepares you to receive blessings, fulfill your purpose, and live in peace. One that destroys, on the other hand, sows obstacles, suffering, and confusion that affect your present and your future. It is essential to maintain constant dependence on me to discern these differences. No relationship can be correctly evaluated without my spirit guiding your heart. My presence allows you to see clearly the true intentions, evaluate the real impact, and make decisions that protect your life. Do not trust only appearances, passing emotions, or human advice. My guidance is what ensures that you keep only relationships that build and permanently remove those that harm. Whoever recognizes these differences also learns to establish healthy boundaries. It is not about rejection out of fear or pride, but about protecting your life and your spirit from influences that do not align with my truth. Edifying relationships allow mutual respect, sincere communication, and shared growth. Destructive relationships seek to control, confuse, or manipulate. Learning to say no, to step away, and to keep distance is not an act of lack of love, but of wisdom and obedience to my guidance. I want you to see each friendship as an investment in your soul. Good friendships multiply your spiritual growth, your emotional stability, and your capacity to love and serve others. Bad friendships dilute your purpose, generate internal conflicts, and open doors to paths that do not lead to the life I have prepared. Every conscious choice to maintain what builds and cut off what destroys strengthens your destiny and brings you closer to the fullness that comes from me. Finally, Understand that the difference between good and bad friendships is not always perceived instantly, but my spirit gives you discernment and strength to recognize them and act with clarity. Good relationships leave peace, clarity, and strength. Bad ones leave confusion, pain, and distance from the truth. Always remain connected with me, listen to my voice, and allow my guidance to determine who stays in your life and who must be removed. When you understand and apply these differences, your life is transformed. Peace replaces confusion, joy replaces anxiety, and clarity replaces doubt. The right friendships become instruments of my light, constant support, and an example of true love. Every edifying relationship strengthens your purpose, secures your well-being, and draws you closer to the eternity I have prepared for you. Walk with discernment, guard your heart, and allow my guidance to be the foundation of all your relationships. In this way you will learn to keep only what builds and to turn away from what destroys, ensuring that your life is filled with light, love, and true purpose. This is the difference between friendships that bring life and those that bring destruction, and understanding it guarantees that you will always walk under my care, strength, and guidance.